How do you feel if your partner told you that they fantasise about other people in bed? Author and so-called sexpert Kate Taylor thinks it's perfectly healthy and caused controversy in her latest article by saying it's OK, even if the person they're fantasising about is your best friend.
But journalist Genevieve Mullen completely disagrees and says it's emotional cheating, and they both join us now. And welcome, ladies. Thank you for being here. Kate, I wanted to start off with you, first of all, by saying that you're in your happiest relationship that you've ever been in. But you say that this is the most natural thing in the world, and actually you couldn't switch it off if you tried.
I don't think you should put yourself or your partner under pressure never to think about someone else, because I think in a long-term relationship, the chances are occasionally your mind is going to wander. But all I'm trying to say is don't worry where your partner's mind has wandered to, just worry where his feet are going. If he's still coming home to you every night, you're still the one that he wants to be with, then really random thoughts that come into his mind I really don't think are worth worrying about. And I think women worry too much about this kind of thing.
What prompted the article? Did he tell you that he fantasised?
No, it was based on a survey where men finally revealed what they're thinking about in bed. And obviously we wanted it to be us and how beautiful we are.
And you asked him, obviously, because you must talk about these sort of things.
This wasn't with...
No, but you must have talked about it at some stage. Have you talked about it? Yes. Does he fantasise about other people?
No, he was brilliant. He said the most perfect reply to this question when I said, do you ever think about other women when we're in bed? And he said, Kate, sometimes I have to, because if I think about you, it's too exciting. Which is just like...
Clever.
That's the nicest
Write that one down, boys. Write that one down.
Good line.
But for you, Genevieve, this couldn't be more opposite.
No.
I mean, for you count whether he's wandering with his mind just as bad as if he's wandering with his hands or other things.
Yeah, I mean, my point of view, Holly, is that if you were both thinking about other people, what's the point in you even being in the same relationship with each other? I cannot understand how you're OK with this, Kate. I really can't.
Well, have you never walked down the street and walked past a guy and thought, oh, yeah, he looks good?
I used to have a crush on you when I was...
Used to?
Yes, I used to. That's... Well,
yeah,
to.
whatever.
No, but what I mean is that it's absolutely fine for you to admire people from afar. When you bring them into...
I'm not talking about admiring, I'm talking about walking past someone in the street and going, I fancy you.
Yeah, but that's admiring someone, isn't it?
No, you're fancying them. Admiring is, I think, what a wonderful job you do.
Fancying and fantasising is completely different. If I then brought that person into an intimate situation, that's then fantasising, and that's not OK, because that's emotional cheating.
But if it happened, if you were to be in bed with your partner or whoever, and then the person that walked past you in the street sort of popped into your mind, there's nothing you can do to stop that, surely. It's just going to happen.
But they would... That's what I'm trying to say, that it's almost a deliberate... It's a conscious thing, isn't it, what you're thinking about when you're in that situation?
That conscious, though? I mean, we all sort of have those moments when... I don't know, when you go, oh, you're in a museum and there's a great big pot and you think, oh, I could just push that off. Now, that doesn't make me somebody that's, that's a really bad person. But you can't help those thoughts coming in. Is it a natural thing that we can't control? I'm not a vandal. Vandal?
Well, no, you haven't done it, but you've obviously thought about it.
No, but that's what I mean. But are they the same thing?
No, I personally don't think that they are, because I think when your mind starts to think about somebody else, I think it shows that there's cracks in the relationship. No. I think it shows. You don't agree? You don't think that it's wrong if you're thinking about someone else? Because aren't you then, if both of you are just randomly thinking about other people, why are you in a relationship? Why are you together?
I know what you mean, because if you really thought that your partner was actively thinking about someone else all the time, then effectively you're just... blow-up doll, really.
Yeah, exactly. My thoughts exactly. You're just a vessel, aren't you?
But, see, in a long-term relationship, though, I think your mind is going to wander. And also, one of the things is, when people say, if you're fantasising, there's obviously something wrong with your relationship and it's not very happy.
That's how I feel.
I would argue that, actually, the happier your relationship is, probably the more likely your mind is to wander, because a lot of the excitement with sex, with the first time, it's novelty, it's excitement, your heart's pounding.
It's just gone too far. I mean, when you think about it, if we start allowing this, if we start saying, oh, this is OK, think about whoever you want, then...
You said in your article, you were talking about the fact that it was OK to fantasise about best friends. It was OK to fantasise about...
pets. Pets, you can't.
Yes, fair enough. Well, there's nothing illegal about a fantasy, but if you were to act things out, that's a whole different ballgame. But what I'm talking about is the fact that you said it was OK for it to be a best friend.
Oh,
what about your sister?
I don't have a sister.
My brother, but if you did...
My brother, I would be a bit more worrying. Because I think, because we have to remember that it's a fantasy. I know what you mean, because you feel, if he's thinking about Angelina Jolie, he's probably never going to meet her, so it's not a threat to my relationship. Whereas if he's thinking about my best friend, then, he does get to see her, so maybe it's not a fancy anymore, it's like a wish, if you know what I mean. He's wanting it to happen.
And is that a bad thing?
It's just a fantasy.
Is it?
She wouldn't have it.
Is it that if you feel comfortable? I mean, is it an insecurity thing? Because there might be people who are thinking, well, she's obviously very comfortable with herself, doesn't feel threatened, knows that he's actually not going to act out on any of these fantasies. Is it that you're thinking, oh gosh, maybe I don't measure up to that person? Oh, she's blonde. My best friend's blonde and I'm brunette. Is it an insecurity thing?
No, I think when we use the insecurity line, I think that's almost, it's an easy way of getting out things, isn't it? And I think, you know, when somebody actually actively cheats and then they use the line, well, you know, you were insecure, you drove me to it, I think that's taking it down that slippery slope that we're looking at. And I don't think there's anything insecure about my relationship. I don't feel insecure in any way, but I would not like the thought of him thinking about somebody else.
Because you can't control someone's mind.
This is the thing. No, not yet. Not yet.
But you'd like to.
One of these days.
So there you are. I mean, you are in the act of love. You have no idea what he's thinking unless he tells you.
And she screams out her name.
Well, that would be a mistake.
And that would take it to a different level.
That would, because then
that would come out of the fantasy in a weird way.
That would almost be like he's trying to hurt your feelings, or he's trying to keep you in your place, kind of thing, by making you feel bad.
Well, we're going to go to the hub, and we've got some comments coming in from there. Stephen, what have you got so far?
Let me tell you, we have got more than, well, how many comments would you say?
1,500.
Right, 1,500 on this subject alone. Let's go to the poll first of all, before I read any out. So over 3/4 of people surveyed, we surveyed 1,000 people, think it's OK to fantasise about someone other than their partner. But look at this. 86% of people think fantasising about someone else does not count as cheating. That's your view. And look at this, 33% of people would be most hurt if their partner fantasised about a friend, 18% say a colleague, with 15% saying a family member. And here's a couple of comments for you. I know. Samantha says if they fantasise about celebs, then yes, but not about friends, relatives or work. And we'll just finish on this one for now. Honestly, we'll talk more about this later on as well. Cat Williams, I'm not bothered who revs his engine as long as the car gets parked in my garage.
That's amazing. I love it when you get in touch.
So final word, please.
I completely agree with that.
No, it's just right. It is emotional cheating. Don't put up with it just because a survey says most men do it. It does not make it OK.
Sorry, but I've got to come back to the point where you say don't put up with it. How will you know?
Well, this is the thing. If they tell you, if you find out, if you ask the question and you know, then it's not OK.
Don't ask, because I think the answer is probably yes.
You'd rather not know. Okay.
I think the answer is probably yes. I do.
It still doesn't make it OK. Just because a survey says that a lot of men do it, I think it's just a slippery slope to it. And in 100 years, we'll all probably be going, oh, you know, we'll have multiple partners and we'll think nothing of that either. And I just think as soon as you let one thing in, it just takes it to a whole new level.
Okay.
It's not right.
I think, but I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't lose any sleep about this, honestly. And also, don't say to your partner, "Who are you thinking about?"
Sleep one eye open when your best friend's around, though, Kate.
What about dreams?
I'd say.
If you said, "I had a funny dream last night and I dreamt about such and such," but you feel jealous about that? You feel angry about that?
I'd feel annoyed about it.
You can have real dreams about the most random people, like the man in the grocers, who you kind of think,
pets.
oh, yeah, and the pets, and the fruit and veg that he's selling.
You
can't control it.
You would be bothered about it.
I would be bothered by it, but dreams are obviously, you know, they're unconscious, aren't they? So you're not consciously going about it, but it would still bother me, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much.